This is.
Hi, Andrew. It's Jennifer Runyon. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
All right. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about. I'm a huge Ghostbusters fan, so I'll save those for last.
Okay.
But I guess to start off with, how did you get into acting, and what made you want to pursue being an actress?
Okay, so are we starting?
Yes.
Okay. So what made me get into acting and what made me pursue it?
Yeah. What made you want to be an actress?
You know, it's a funny story because I came from a family that was in the business in radio, and my mom did theater in Chicago, and her and my stepdad were on the radio. But it wasn't until I was about 14 and lived here in California, and my mom and a friend put me in an acting class because I was painfully shy, and they thought this would be a great way to just get me out of my shell. And so I started this acting class at 14, and I was in there for years and years and years, and that's how I started because a casting director came to our class to talk to the class. And we did scenes, and they ended up bringing me in for a soap opera.
Okay.
And I ended up getting the part and moved to New York and did a show called Another World that I was on for, I think, about 4 years. And that's where my beginning came. And
how long after you had started the classes, how long did it take to kind of figure out that this might be something you wanted to do?
Honestly, I have to be honest with you, I kind of, by the time I was 17, thought, this would be really cool. I really enjoy doing this. It'd be a lot of fun. I didn't quite know how to get into it because my mom wasn't, when we moved out here, we really didn't have a lot of connections.
Mm-hmm.
But I had my class, and I just kept, staying in class and doing, the work in class. And right about the time the casting director came in, and I was 18, and it sort of fell into place, and it was sort of a decision that was kind of made for me,
Right.
I didn't consciously seek it out. It just sort of kind of fell into place, and I've always tried to be very respectful and grateful for that because it doesn't happen like that very often.
Right. What were some of the other really early roles that you had?
Well, way before I got Another World, I did do a very low-budget movie that a friend of mine was in and said, "Oh, come and audition for this little, for this part." And so I did, and it was, this movie never, I think it's on VHS now, but it never was released, and it was called To All a Good Night. It was a Christmas horror movie, and that was probably my very first job. And very low budget. And it was with a director by the name of David Hess, who, he was quite wonderful. I really liked David a lot. But that was my first opportunity. After the soap, I came back and I did a movie called Up the Creek, which I had a lot of fun on. Got to go to Oregon and whitewater raft, and then came Charles in Charge, and a bunch of pilots I did before Charles in Charge that never sold. But just a lot of fun. I had so many different experiences. It takes a long time to kind of get your foot in the door, and in this crazy world of show business.
How difficult of a transition is it to, simply going to classes and performing there and learning the craft, to actually being on a set and being in front of a camera? I mean, is it difficult? Is it nerve-wracking?
Yeah, that's a good question. The beauty of it for me was my teacher worked with cameras, so I learned from the beginning how to work on camera. And when I did get the soap, the movie was one thing. That was just a little low-budget movie that, you can make mistakes, and it all works out. Soap operas every day,
right?
And it's a lot of dialogue. So I was really grateful for the opportunity that I had learned a lot of camera work in my studying with Lily and Siobhan.
Mm-hmm.
So I felt very comfortable in front of a camera. I knew how to, position myself. You knew when you had your marks, you knew why, and she gave me that gift. That was a great opportunity that I had that,
right,
in my advantage.
You mentioned Charles in Charge. You've appeared on Charles in Charge, 90210, Who's the Boss? Is there any roles that you have that you really kind of like to forget? I think everybody has at least one.
Oh my gosh. Oh wow. What would I want to forget? Well, you know what I did. Oh, I don't know. It's hard to say because I did do one movie that I absolutely loved. This movie, I absolutely loved it, but it just didn't kind of come out the way I wanted it to. I mean, it just everything kind of. It was a great concept. The movie's a cute movie, but it's not my favorite as far as my performance. I just felt like I needed a little more direction. I needed a little more help from the director. They kind of had me all over the place, because they weren't sure what they were doing.
Right.
It was called The In Crowd. But I loved the movie, and I loved being a part of it. I just always felt my performance in that. They were kind of all over the place with what they wanted me to do, so I didn't know what to do.
Right.
And, that was probably the one that I would say, I wish it would have gone better.
Are you kind of your own, were you kind of your own worst critic a lot of the time?
Oh, yeah. I've had a hard time for many years even watching anything I've been on because I just cringe. It's always hard to watch yourself. It's better now.
Right.
Now I can look and go, oh, look at that. That was fun.
That's a lot like when I do these interviews. I'll go back and listen to them a few months later or something. I'll be like, oh my gosh, I can't stand my voice.
Oh no, yeah, that's another thing, right? When you hear your own voice, isn't it kind of horrifying?
It is. It is. Because you hear one thing and what everyone else hears is something way different.
Exactly.
You also played the role of Cindy Brady on Very Brady Christmas Special.
Yes.
How did that all come about?
Well, I got asked to interview, and I was like, my agents were like, you really want to do that? And I'm like, are you kidding? Pretty much, yes. I think they thought, oh, she won't want to be bothered with that. But I was like, oh my God, that was my childhood. I would love to be Cindy Brady for, a little Christmas movie.
Sure.
And I got it, and I loved it. I had the greatest time. They were so wonderful to me. They were so welcoming. A little fun fact, Christopher Knight, who's Bobby.
Right.
Bobby.
No, Christopher Knight's Peter.
Peter.
Yes.
I should know this. Christopher played my boyfriend on the soap opera I was on.
Oh, wow.
I just felt like, oh, good, and I'll get to see Christopher. So it was sort of like having a nice little anchor there, a buddy, that knew me.
Yeah.
But they were all wonderful. I had the greatest time on the show. I loved all the kids. I loved Plum, Maureen, Barry, Mike, Peter, Alice, Andy Davis is adorable. Florence was great. And Robert Reed was just, I loved that man.
I always hear, in the past I've heard like on the E! True Hollywood Story and stuff like that there was, in the initial filming of the original series, there was always a lot of tension on the set. Was it overall a good, easygoing experience, and were you almost immediately accepted as a member of the Brady family?
I was accepted so quickly. They were so great. They were fantastic. And funny thing is Susan and I, the original Cindy, we are friends, to this now. It's amazing. But to go back, yes, they were great. It was so cool to be a part of it. I got to meet Susan. This is a cute story. About 15 years ago, I think my kids were 5 and 3, and I'm up in Valencia, California. I'm back in town. I moved away from California for a while, and I'm back in town, staying with my brother and sister-in-law, and I have the kids at Burger King or McDonald's, and I'm sitting there. My kids are playing. My sister-in-law's with me, and her kids are playing, and I look over, and there's Susan Olsen, and I'm like, Judy, to my sister-in-law, my God, it's Susan Wilson. I have to say something to her. I played her in the movie. And she's like, well, go say hi. So I did. I went up to her, and I'm just like, oh, my God, Susan, it's Jennifer. I played you in A Very Brady Christmas. And I told her, I hope I did you proud. And she was delightful, and we're friends to this day. I mean, she's a great girl.
Cool. Were there any funny stories or anything like that from the set of the Brady Bunch TV show?
You know what? I can't specifically think of any one like hysterical story. I think it was just so fun because Jerry Hauser, I don't know if you know Jerry, he played
Marcia's husband. Yeah.
And he is just so funny. And, of course, everybody's got a great sense of humor. And so there was always just joking around and kidding on the set and lots of fun. We also had, it was very cute, Mark and Brian. They were a radio duo out here in California on KLOS at the time. Like, they were popular here for like 20-some-odd years. Mm-hmm. And they came on the show to be curious and serious and curious onlookers. Well, Mr. Brady was trapped in the building. I don't know if you remember the scene, but
Yep.
Mark and Brian are behind me. So that was a fun fact. Those are one of those funny things where you're like, oh my God, I listen to these guys every day on the radio, and they're standing behind me and they're hysterical. So we had a lot of fun things happen spontaneously, but I can't think of any one thing that, would stick out.
Right. How was it working with Robert Reed? I know he died. He passed away not too long after that, right?
Yeah, he was great. He was probably my favorite person on the set. He would sit with me and talk to me and tell me about his daughter and ask about my life. And he genuinely was just a dear man, very good heart and good soul. And I never experienced or saw any of the behavior that I've heard over the years. Never saw any of that. I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm sure it did.
Right.
But, who knows? Maybe he was frustrated and, ultimately everyone of the cast members will all tell you what a dear soul he was. So, I don't know.
Well, and I know, anytime any of them talk about him, they always mention, that he basically was a second father to him.
Oh, yeah. Susan will tell you, that was her other dad.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch with a lot of the Bradys, or?
With who?
What, do you still keep in touch with a lot of the Brady cast members, or?
Not least Susan, Jerry Hauser.
Mm-hmm.
We're in touch. I haven't talked to Chris in a long time. I'm friends with Jerry Rachel, who played Fake Jan on the variety series.
Right.
I'm good buddies with her too. But that's about it.
Okay. What's Chris like? I mean, I actually did not even have this question wrote down, but now that I thought about it, because he had that show for a while, something about My Fair Brady or something like that, and he was kind of is that more who he really is, or is that just kind of a more amped up version for the cameras?
Well, I don't even think I saw that, so I'm not sure what kind of happened on that show. Mm-hmm. I heard he did that show, but I'm really not familiar with, what happened. I know he got married or something, or he was getting married, but I did not see it, so I only heard about it.
Okay.
So I can't answer that one.
All right. What was it like working on Charles in Charge with Scott Baio?
Oh, it was fun. That was a great time. I had a really good time. I did the pilot for that show, and I was only supposed to be a guest star, but they ended up bringing me on as a series regular.
Mm-hmm.
Lot of fun. Scott and I became really good buddies, kind of brother and sister kind of buddies. Willie Ames and I are still friends. I just love Willie. And the kids, I talk to Jonathan every once in a while, but I haven't seen the other kids. I've talked to them. I still talk to Julie Cobb, the mother. Mm-hmm. And actually, my husband is working on the same lot as Jamie Widows right now.
Oh, wow.
And so I told him, make sure you say hi to Jamie, because he's a good friend of mine. But that was a great show. I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot from Scott and Willie. You know, those two pros have been, you know, at it for a long time, so they really made me feel comfortable, and, you know, I felt like the little sister. You know, they were great.
And who were some of your other influences that you know that you learned from along the way?
You know, I did a really cool mini-series called Space, and it was the first one that was like 13 or 20, I don't remember. It was like an outrageous amount of hours. It was from the James Michener novel, and David Dukes played my husband, and that man and James Garner played my father. I really had such a great time working with them. I mean, I've had so many opportunities to work like with amazing actors and some of the big old Hollywood stars from the past, and I always was so respectful of, you know, watch and listen and learn, and I enjoyed James Garner and David Dukes. I enjoyed Hugh Marlowe I got to work with, Irene Daly, Constance Ford, Bill Murray, obviously,
right.
Who I just adored Bill Murray. He was great. Scott Bakula is another one when I did Quantum Leap, the pilot. I've just had the most incredible opportunities, and I'm so grateful for them.
Okay. I guess let's get into the Ghostbusters stuff. I mean, I love all of it, but this is what I'm most excited about. How did you get casted in Ghostbusters?
Well, I got a call to go in and read for Ivan Reitman and the producers, and I went in, and actually I think I met the casting director first, and they put me on tape, and I got called back, and I met Ivan and the producers, and I got the job, and I really, I didn't really know what the whole story was, you know. I just knew it was a Bill Murray movie and Dan Aykroyd, and I knew I just had one of the beginning scenes, and I got the script when I got to New York, and I was what you call a cover set. So what a cover set, you might know this, Andrew, but a cover set is, you know, if it rains, they're going to shoot your scene because it's inside.
Right.
Because they want to shoot everything outdoors that they can.
Right.
So I go to New York, and I'm there for like 2 or 3 weeks, and it's not raining. And I'm just like, okay, this is party time. I'm going to go see old friends, because I'd been there, you know, on the soap, so I knew I had a lot of, you know, friends there. But after a couple weeks, I shot the scene, and it was incredible. It was really fun. Bill Murray is just a hoot. He and I became buddies for a while, and, you know, until he got so busy, I didn't see too much of him. But, you know, we used to go out to dinner, and one time we went out to dinner downtown L.A. and walked over to the train station, and he talked one of the train conductors into us driving a Amtrak train.
Oh, wow.
So here's Bill Murray and I at the train station, and he's driving a train.
Speaking of Bill, what was it like the first time you met Bill Murray?
Oh my gosh, well, first of all, he's such a charmer. I mean, he's a little ladies' man, and he's sweet, and he's kind, and he's got the best heart, and he makes you feel comfortable. And, you know, that whole scene was scripted, but it was also, we winged it, and
right.
He was easy to play off of, and we just kind of had fun with it. And I tell you, that scene came out better than I would have thought, you know, because it really wasn't that big of a scene. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, oh my God. When I saw it, I'm like, this is a great scene.
Yeah, I mean, you're one of the first people that anybody sees in the movie.
Yeah.
How long did it take to actually do the scene, and was it done at Columbia University?
Yes, we actually shot at Columbia, and it was I would think it took about 4, 5, 6 hours maybe.
Okay.
Good part of a day. And
now, were you around the rest of the cast, the rest of the main cast, or was it just basically you, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, and Steven?
Yeah, it was basically us. Harold Ramis was there. You know, he was in the room. He kind of was hanging out. You know, they were really good about letting me know hey, they're going to be filming at this location if you want to go and watch them film one day. And I didn't do it too often because I didn't know, I don't know. I just had other things to do. But I did get to go right below the hotel, in the street right in front of the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, come on down. We're shooting here. You might find this fun. And oh my gosh, it was the whole when the New York street closes down and the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Mm-hmm. And I come walking out and I'm like, oh my God, what the heck happened? And it was pretty cool to watch.
Now, your character in the movie also is named Jennifer. Was that coincidence, or is that just how they did it?
He called me by my name. I didn't have a name. I was just co-ed.
Oh, okay.
I was co-ed, and he gave me a name.
Okay.
He used my name.
Out of curiosity, because we never get to see it,
yeah.
What would have happened had Jennifer gone back at 8 o'clock? Would she have turned Venkman down?
Oh my God.
It's something that I've been wanting to know for at least 25 years.
I asked that question. Oh my God, that's cute. Okay, what would have happened? I don't know. That's good to just kind of wonder.
Well, because, yeah, I mean, for at least 25 years now, I've been thinking, God, I wonder what would have gone down.
Oh my God, that is hilarious. That's so cute. I love that question. You're the first person ever to ask me that.
Well, because, I mean, Venkman, the character in the movie, was kind of one of those guys where...
Dog!
Yeah, and Sigourney Weaver turns him down at first, so it's like, would a college student do that too? With he was a professor at the time. I mean, would a college student have done that? Yeah, I don't know why. I've wondered that for at least 25 years now.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
While filming the movie or shortly, after it had come out, did you ever think that almost 30 years later it would still be a big deal to nerds like me and, a lot of other people?
Oh, you're so cute. Oh, hey, listen. You are not alone. There are many of us. I'm a nerd for Ghostbusters. I love that movie. I love the follow-ups. I just do. I just think they're all great.
Yeah.
I just, it's so funny. It amazes me. Half a year ago, I did a interview that came all the way down to me. They came and found me. Mm-hmm. This couple, a brother and sister, and they're doing the
cleaning up the town.
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Cleaning
up the town. Have you heard of it?
Yeah. It's well, initially it started the preview started leaking online a couple of years ago. And I do believe I think it's due out next year.
Yeah, Anthony's still working on it. They're great. They're incredible. Well, maybe Robin even told you. Robin Shelby. I know he interviewed Robin Shelby.
Yeah, I talked to Robin. Robin's awesome. I love Robin.
Robin Slimer. She's amazing. I
yes.
love her.
I talked to Robin.
They were great. I mean, and I had no idea. I mean, I knew it was a popular movie, but I had no idea that there were all these Ghostbusters. Like in Atlanta, the Ghostbusters of Atlanta, the Ghostbusters in New Jersey.
Yeah. There's literally hundreds of them.
I mean, it's. I think it's really cool. I mean, people love this movie, and it's really kind of an amazing, awesome, cool thing to have been a part of it.
See, and for me, it's I first got into Ghostbusters probably when I was about 3, and because by then I think I was just.
Are you, Andrew?
What's that?
How old are you?
I'm 27.
Okay, you could be my son.
Well, hey, if that means that someone from Ghostbusters is my mom, I'll take it any day.
Yeah.
I was about 3 when I got into it, and I initially was into the cartoons, and I can remember, a short time after that, because back then, videotapes to buy were expensive. And so we'd always rent Ghostbusters from the video store where we lived, and I can remember watching it for the first time, and I was hooked. And I've watched it ever since. I still have all my Ghostbusters toys. A lot of people know me for having the most ridiculous collection of Ghostbuster stuff in the world.
Oh my God, awesome!
I mean, I've got like 9 of everything. It's insane. But for me, it's one of those things when I think back, and it's one of those things I've kept with me all these years, because when I think back to a lot of the good memories from my childhood, somehow they all involve Ghostbusters. I mean, and I had to tell Robin Shelby that like when I was 4 years old, we lived in a little town called York, Nebraska, and my dad took me to a drive-in movie theater to see Ghostbusters 2, and that was one of the. I mean, most people don't remember things from 3 or 4 years old, but that was just one of those things I can never forget.
Yeah.
And it's made such an impact on so many people, and it not only with the cartoon and everything like that, but it's just one of those movies that seems to have held up really, really, really well all this time later. I was talking to Michael Gross at one point, and he was even shocked that it's still as popular today.
My gosh, I'm telling you, I think I really truly believe they knew they had a winner, but I don't think they realized what exactly they had.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
really,
definitely.
It's kind of a phenom right now, and it's still. And now they're going to do 3. And I think, apparently.
Yeah.
Apparently, I guess.
And I guess I better ask you that, I'm sure you have no idea, but since you were involved in Ghostbusters, it's kind of mandatory. Do you think we'll ever see a 3rd movie?
I don't know. I think, listen, the last I heard, Bill was the last one to get to sign off on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know that he has. But then I heard he did, so I don't know. But all I know is I think they're all amazing. I'm sure they would make a great movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I know they would never do anything that they didn't think was, decent.
Right.
And if they want me to come back and play a clairvoyant who has no idea what she's doing but thinks she does, I would be happy to do.
I would love to see a scene of you slapping Venkman in the face for standing you up.
Yeah. He comes to see me, to see a clairvoyant, and it's me, and I'm like, Dr. Venkman? I have it.
And the funny thing about your scene is, when I'm a kid, you don't really pick up on much, but all those years later of still watching, and it was maybe about 10 or 15 years ago that I'm actually watching it, and I never actually figured out that here's Venkman just letting you get everything right.
Yeah.
Which is the great comedy of it, and like I said, when I was a kid, it was just kind of like just staring at the movie watching, but then once you actually kind of, I guess, start to kind of analyze it and pay a little more attention, here's Venkman, every answer your character says wrong. Is there anybody from Ghostbusters? I know you you're friends with Robin, but is there anybody else that you still keep in contact with?
No, not really. Like I said, Stephen and I kind of had to, we kind of had to hang out in New York for a couple of weeks while they were getting ready to, find a spot for our scene. But I know Stephen, God, I'd love to see Stephen again.
I actually think he recently kind of resurfaced to the public. There's been, on one of the Ghostbusters websites, there's been a lot of people who've gotten pictures with him.
Yeah, and I know that when the Buenos, Anthony and his sister were here to do the documentary, they interviewed Stephen, and I'm like, oh my God, please contact him and tell him, you can give him my phone number, because I'd love to talk to him, because he's a great guy, and he's also friends with Willie Ames, my friend Willie.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to tell Willie too. But Willie's my world traveler. He's a cruise director now.
Oh wow.
Yeah, Willie cruises around on yachts, and he's pretty cute.
So is he not into acting anymore?
I think he would be. I don't know. I mean,
because I think the last thing that I know that he did was something called Bible Man.
Yes, he was Bible Man or Bible Boy or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never saw it, but I heard about it.
Yeah.
I know he did Charles in Charge forever, and then he went and did Bible Boy, and now he is he works for some cruise company, and
Wow.
he's friends with me, on Facebook, and I get all the updates where he's at, and he's a sweetheart. I love Willie.
Are there any funny stories from the set of Ghostbusters that you remember?
No, like I said, I was really only there on set one day.
Okay.
My brother could tell you, though. I know that at the wrap party, something funny happened at the wrap party, and I can't remember it, but my brother always tells me the story, and I'm like, really? I don't remember that. And I can't. I wish, if I remember Anthony, you know what I'll do? I'll ask him, and I'll Facebook you the story in private messages.
It sounds good.
There's some story I remember at the wrap party, and with Dan Aykroyd, and my brother was just like, "Oh my God, that's hilarious." I'll ask him, and I'll send you that.
Sure.
Oh, you on? Yeah.
Sure. Here we are in 2013. I know you don't act anymore.
Right.
What made you decide to leave the business, and what are you doing these days?
I left because the last thing I did, I was about 6 months pregnant with my son. I did a movie called Carnosaur about dinosaurs, and I did it. My husband's uncle was the producer, and he was like, "Oh, Jennifer, you want to do a movie?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm pregnant." And he's like, "That's okay, you can still do it." So I did the movie, and it was called Carnosaur. And once I was done with that, and I was ready to have my son Wyatt, I was just like, I don't have time to do both. There's no time. There's no way I could be in this business and be a mom and do either one, properly. Does that make sense?
Right.
I just don't know how you can do it all. I just don't think you can. I think you gotta pick and choose and have a priority, and my kids were my priority, and that's why I left. And my husband still works in the business, but I did choose to raise my kids. Now that they're older, I teach acting, and I teach acting through a organization called Tilly's Life Center, which we're starting a new program where we teach kids from, underprivileged situations, and we teach them life lessons and motivation, and I'm the drama teacher, and it's a lot of fun.
Cool. Have you ever thought of going back to acting in front of the camera again?
No.
No?
Only way I would do it is if one of my friends said, "Hey, come and do my show. Will you have a little part of my show?" I would do that in a heartbeat. I am not really willing to go back into it full time and start auditioning. I don't live up in LA. I live down an hour and a half away. I still have a daughter in high school. If I lived up in LA, maybe I would be more open to it, but, that was a different time. But like I said, if one of my friends said, "Hey, Sam, will you do this little part?" I'd be like all over it.
All right. Well, that's about all I've got. Is there anything you'd like to say to all those crazy Ghostbusters fans out there?
How about 8 o'clock?
Yeah, I was just gonna say 8 o'clock. You're a legitimate fan. Sorry, I had to do that.
Thank everybody. It's just been so nice that people remember and like the scene. It's kind of amazing.
All right. Well, Jennifer, thank you for taking some time to talk to me tonight.
Thank you. It was so good to talk to you.
It was a lot of fun, and I will go ahead and get this posted on my site, and I'll send you a link as well.
I love it. That sounds great.
Sounds great. Thank you, Jennifer.
Okay, you too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, we'll see ya.
Okay, bye.
Bye.